Good morning and happy Sunday. I am here because I wanted to start a little series that I'm going to call Coffee and Connect, because on Sunday mornings I like to just relax and hang out with my cats. Brandy's probably going to hop up here. I like to relax, have my coffee, pull some cards. I got this cute mug because if you know me, my face does a lot of things when other people talk. I don't know if you guys can see what's going on right now, but this is probably going to happen throughout this Sunday Coffee and Connect videos. Whatever. I will ask the cards like what they want to teach me, like what message they have. Like when I'm pulling a message for like the collective, which is like what kind of reading this is. I ask them if there's a collective message for the week, something that kind of can resonate with everybody, something that maybe folks need to focus on. Or just something that's helpful to learn. So the first card that I pulled is one of my favorites. It is the Hermit card. So it's this little guy. He's so cute. Older gentleman in a cloak with a little lantern and a staff. And so what the hermit symbolizes is this cloak that he's got on. This is the cloak of invisibility. So when we go into the stage of the hermit, like it's really a time for us to get quiet, to get intentional, to get into a meaningful solitude, because there's things that we need to or want to work through on our own. I think there's a lot of times in our lives when we ask other people for advice. Maybe when we need some clarity, we go to somebody we trust. If we haven't learned yet to trust and love ourselves, we will go to other people to figure out, like, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? Because I don't know what's best for me or what's right for me. And I realize that might be a little bit harsh to hear, but let me tell you, I used to be that person too. And until I went through a really hard time in October during this last Scorpio season, and then Mercury retrograde in Scorpio kicked my ass until I went through this really dark period and was kind of isolated and brought to a place where I was just by myself. A lot of people fell away, a lot of support systems fell away. That's when I didn't have any choice but to learn how to love myself. And I was most definitely in the hermit phase. I didn't want to be wearing this little cloak of invisibility, but it was kind of put on me. And the lantern that he has, you can see it's not a lot of light. It's only enough light to light each next step on his path. So if you can think about holding this lantern, like you can only see literally what is in front of you, because when we are in this place, we're called to take things moment by moment, day by day, situation by situation, emotion by emotion. So some people have a hard time with hermit. They have a hard time with this card, but I think the best thing about it is the numerology, which is 9. And 9 is the number of completions. 9 is the number of accomplishments. 9 is, if you are familiar with numerology, when we're looking at like personal years, except for the master numbers, which is something totally different. But being that 9 is the last number, when we get to a 9 personal year, we go back to 1. So it's like the loop is only 9 numbers long. So that's why it's the number of completions, endings, accomplishments. So when we are in this phase of the hermit, we are in a place of coming to, it feels like a very intentional end to whatever situation we've been struggling with. So for you, it might be a job. It might be how you feel about the holidays. It might be a relationship. It could be any number of things. It might be a habit. I just really like hermit. Like, I appreciate when it comes up. Like, I'm an introvert though, so it's kind of like, oh, I have permission to be by myself. that makes me happy. I think for some people, like if you're an extrovert or you're a people person, or if you love socialization, if you really, really enjoy the holidays, like this, might not sound so appealing to you. But being in the hermit doesn't mean that, we have to like lock ourselves away and like close the blinds and all that stuff. It might just be a call to, take things moment by moment using our little lantern, or like this staff. Like he uses a staff to really be intentional about where he steps, like kind of poking into the ground. Like, is this where I want to go? Is this good ground? And just, it might be a call to be just much more intentional while you're celebrating the holidays. Because for some people, family time is tricky. We have to be careful about the way we speak to others, the topics we talk about, the topics we don't talk about, so that intentionality might resonate for you. So that was the first card I pulled. I'm gonna have some coffee. So you have to listen to me. I'm a super loud swallower. Swallower. Sorry. I don't know what to do about that. Or maybe I'm not. Maybe you can't hear it. Anyway, enough about my throat stuff. The next card that I have is from the Power of Surrender deck, and it is Surrender to Your Soul's Path. I was going to say journey. I'm glad I looked back at this. So this is the card. It's really beautiful. Like it's got this little stream and like this little bridge, and it's all green and heart chakra-y. Because I think that like our dreams and our desires live in our heart. And if you're familiar with the chakras, then you know that the heart chakra is green. Sometimes it's pink. Usually it's green. And like, I believe our soul's path is to live whatever that dream is that we have for ourselves. So maybe your dream is to own a bakery and just make the most like bomb ass cupcakes for the whole world. Awesome. Like that's a beautiful dream, especially if it comes from your heart. Maybe your dream is like to be a woodworker. Maybe your dream is to be a painter. Maybe your dream is to help people with tarot cards and life coaching. Hey, like whatever your dream is. Maybe your dream is just to have like a really easy job and have like a modest, comfortable home and a totally stress-free life, which I think is beautiful. Because there's so many reasons to be stressed out. So to just have this like sole purpose of living like in grace and ease, that's a beautiful thing. But this card says your life's journey has been perfectly designed for your soul's growth. Embrace every lesson in every moment. And I think a great thing about this card, and specifically talking about embrace every lesson in every moment, is that as we come to the holidays, I think that we have a lot of expectations about how things should be, how people should be, what it should look like, how stuff should be decorated, how perfect the food should come out, how much Uncle Sam should or shouldn't drink, how much, Aunt Sue should or shouldn't criticize us. And holding those expectations really puts up a wall between us and our ability to embrace every lesson and every moment. Because I think that when we hold expectations, it takes up space that compassion can't fit into anymore. So like once we start to release, like if you think of a cup, if your cup is full of expectation, there's no room for compassion to come in. So I think if we can lower our expectations, that allows space for compassion and grace and kindness and acceptance to come in. And I feel like that's the thing that helps us connect not only to ourselves, but connect to other people. When we don't have compassion and kindness for ourselves, and we're operating only out of expectation of what we should do, what we shouldn't do, what we should look like, how much we should eat, how much we shouldn't eat, what we should weigh, how perfect our hair needs to be, how well we should be able to cook, bake, we should have enough money to buy everybody presents, like all these things that come up around the holidays because of social programming, capitalism. I don't know, whatever. But the more full our cup is with expectations of what we should be, shouldn't be, have to do, that fills our cup up, and there's no room for the really good sweet stuff. Like if your cup is just full of like black coffee, there's no room for you to put any like sweetener in or creamer. And if you only like to drink black coffee, it's probably because you're weird. No, I'm just kidding. You're not weird, but for the purposes of this analogy, let's pretend everybody needs some creamer and some sugar or almond milk, whatever you like in your coffee. Honey, I don't know, cinnamon, whatever. Anyway, so if we only have room in our cup for the black coffee, which is a little bit bitter, I think, then there's no room for like that creamer and sugar, and the things that are the creamer and sugar that like sweeten and soften, you know, our lives and our existence are like that kindness, that compassion, that acceptance, to be able to offer to each other and to ourselves that, you know, maybe normally you make an amazing apple pie, and for some reason this year it just didn't turn out so great because, you know, while you're baking it, you got some calls from work, and then one of the kids was sick, and then the dog knocked over the treat, and everything was crazy, and then you heard the timer go off and you couldn't get to it because your life is exploding all around you, and maybe the edges are a little bit burnt. Whatever. Like, it's not the end of the world. I'm sure it's still a great pie, and it's okay that it didn't turn out perfect because life isn't perfect. So like when we can be compassionate with ourselves and say, I was doing the best that I could with what I had at the time, then it gives us space in our cup to put in some creamer and put in some sugar and put in the things that really soften that bitterness of life. Excuse me. I'm a little croaky today. But I just wanted to come on here, have some coffee with you on a Sunday morning, share some cards, intentionality, let's just call it that. Embracing whatever's in our heart. So if it's in our heart, like a dream is in our heart, if a purpose is in our heart, if there's just some like kindness and compassion and love in our heart, great. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please leave me a comment. Let me know. What did you think of the Hermit card? Like, what came up for you? What do you want to or need to be more intentional around? Do you feel like there are things in your life that you can do better at embracing? Are there little moments that you can just kind of stop and embrace, even just a little bit, even just like 5%, because you know that all things are temporary, that even whatever chaos is happening right now, it's not going to be forever. That, you know, the difficult moments in our life are fleeting, just like the really amazing, joyful moments in our life are fleeting. So when we can kind of embrace and enjoy that, I think that's just a little extra sweetener or creamer in our coffee. So yeah. All right, leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought. I hope you guys have an awesome week, and that you stay warm. It's pretty cold here in North Carolina. It's kind of rainy and gross. And that you have a beautiful holiday, and I will see you next week. Bye.